You spend weeks preparing your soil, carefully applying fertilizer and getting everything right for the season. Then, a heavy rainstorm rolls in. Within hours, the water rushing across your field can wash away half the nutrients you just applied, long before your plants can actually use them. This loss is driven by a process called nutrient leaching. It happens quietly underground, slowly making your soil poorer and weakening your crops. Looking at this cross-section of sandy soil, you can see exactly how it works. Rainwater enters the tiny spaces between soil particles, and gravity pulls it downward. If the soil contains highly soluble nutrients, especially nitrate nitrogen, those nutrients dissolve and travel right along with the draining water. Nitrate nitrogen dissolves very easily in water, which is why it is so susceptible to being washed away. As the water continues downward, those dissolved nutrients drop entirely out of the plant's root zone, becoming permanently inaccessible. That fertilizer investment is simply gone. To stop this from happening, we have to rethink how we prepare for wet weather. We are going to walk through a 5-step physical build process to organize vulnerable dirt into a reinforced, nutrient-locking soil system. Rain itself isn't the enemy. It only washes away your hard work when the soil lacks the structural capacity to hold its ground. And step 1 is preparing your drainage and structure. Before you plant, shape your soil into raised beds or contour rows. Instead of allowing water to pool on flat ground and force its way straight down, this design gently guides excess rainwater horizontally away from your crops, while maintaining balanced moisture levels inside the bed. While you shape these beds, avoid heavy tilling. Aggressive tilling destroys poor aggregates. These are the small, natural clusters of soil particles that regulate healthy water infiltration and keep the soil stable under pressure. Step 2 is building the organic sponge. Take a heavy layer of compost, well-decomposed manure, or biochar, and work it directly into the top few inches of your soil. This microscopic view shows how that organic matter functions. It creates tiny, charged surfaces throughout the soil that act like magnets. As water flows past, these aggregates physically catch and trap soluble nitrogen, keeping it from floating away. By combining these first 2 steps, you dictate the flow of water. The field shaping controls the physical path the rain takes, while the organic sponge actively strips that water of its valuable nutrient cargo before it leaves the bed. Step 3 is adjusting how you feed your plants. A common mistake is applying an entire season's worth of water-soluble fertilizer all at once, right before the wet season begins. If heavy rain arrives a few days later, a massive portion of those loose nutrients will wash out. Instead, use a technique called split application. This means dividing your total fertilizer requirement into several smaller doses, applying them progressively throughout the growing season exactly when the plants need them. You can also use slow-release fertilizers to achieve a similar result. Because these formulations dissolve gradually over time, there is never a massive surplus of vulnerable nutrients sitting in the soil waiting to be washed away. Step 4 is locking the system down with mulch. Cover the bare soil around your plants with a thick layer of organic material like straw or dried leaves. This layer absorbs the physical impact of heavy rainfall, breaking the force of the drops so they don't immediately erode the topsoil. By timing exactly when nutrients are available and armoring the surface against physical impact, you stop the leaching process before the water even reaches the deeper soil profile. And step 5 is deploying the nets. Find the bare pathways or fallow sections of your field and scatter seeds for cover crops like legumes or fast-growing grasses. Underground, cover crop roots weave together into a physical barrier. They intercept excess nitrogen and minerals sliding deep into the soil during a storm. The crop absorbs these captured minerals, drawing them upward to safely store the nutrients above ground inside their living leaves. Later in the season, when these cover crops die back or are cut down to decompose, they slowly release those stored nutrients directly back into the topsoil for your primary crops to use. Adding these biological root systems turns passive, empty gaps in your field into an active, living defense mechanism against nutrient loss. You now have 5 layers of defense working together: proper field drainage, a nutrient-trapping organic sponge, precise fertilizer timing, a physical mulch armor, and living root nets. When the next intense downpour hits your property, your fields are prepared. The water flows methodically, the soil holds its structure, and your nutrient base stays within reach of your plants. Your fertilizer investment is now much more resilient to unpredictable weather, staying in the soil where it can actually feed your crops. If you want to take this a step further, click on the next video. We will break down exactly how to naturally build long-term soil fertility so you can start reducing your reliance on chemical fertilizers. By mastering these basic soil mechanics, you turn the rainy season from an annual threat into a structural advantage for continuous, healthy crop growth.